so it's time for some education, right?
Yes. So, the federal government is planning to launch 3 new national identity cards in May this year. That's next month. And the target is to provide cards for about 104 million citizens across the country. 104 million. The 3 new National Identity Cards initiative, planned by the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, includes a bank-enabled national ID card, a social intervention card, and an optional ECOWAS National Biometric Identity Card. I'm sure you're thinking, why do we need 3? Well, this is among the questions we're going to put to our panel this morning, and it's my pleasure to welcome our panel, which is in Abuja, consists of Mr. Peter Iwebu, Head Card Management Service, NIMC. Good morning. As well as Nenna Achife, Head Commercial Business, Afrigo. She's also in our Abuja studio. Thank you, lady and gentlemen, for joining us this morning.
Thank you for
Mr. Iwebu, let me begin with you.
Pleasure to be here.
Why do we need 3 identity cards?
Wow, thank you very much. In fact, I actually was planning to correct that intro.
Okay.
Because we are not issuing 3 different cards.
Okay.
What we are doing is that we are issuing a general multipurpose cards for different multi-uses and different variants. So it's a multi-use case driven. What we are issuing is a single card program that addresses different use cases. And the immediate 3 use cases that we are addressing is the need for financial inclusion for payments. That's one. The second one, the need for social and economic intervention to address the administration of palliative support and benefits that the government is providing. And the third one, which is what the third use case, not card, is a closed loop kind of thing where you issue a specialized kind of card for people who want special needs. For example, ECOWAS is for those who want to travel outside the country, who want to travel within the ECOWAS region, who needs a card, just like the travel card I used to have before. And we're not the one issuing all these cards. We're issuing these cards along with the functional people who have responsibility to provide those services. Our role in NIMC is to provide the foundational identity to the financial sector for them to be able to issue the payment and financial card for financial inclusion, provide also a functional identity for the government agencies who have been empowered with the responsibility to administer this benefit and palliative for them to issue the card. And then lastly is we also enable by the law setting us up, we don't have the power to issue ECOWAS travel card. We will work with the agency, which is Nigerian Immigration Service. We provide them again verifiable identity for them to be able to issue ECOWAS card for those who need it. Related to the ECOWAS scheme too is also, we're also working with an agency called Nigerian Senior Citizen Center, who has a responsibility by law to provide for the senior citizens in the country, to also provide a kind of a use case for the senior citizen on the back of this single card. So in summary, we're issuing just one general multi-purpose card program that addresses multiple use cases in different variants.
Okay.
So it's just one card program that enables you to access different services. If it is banking services you need, we have a card that we're working out with the banking industry to be able to issue. If it is for access government services, the same card too can also be used to access those services. If it is that you require some special need for like the senior citizens, you can also use that same card to access that services. So it is one card, one simple card program that addresses multi-use cases.
Okay. Mr. Iwebu, does this invalidate the card that we are carrying now?
Okay, I wouldn't know the card because, you know, what we have found out is like there have been previous attempts to issue this card in a very sustainable manner to Nigerians, starting from a very long time when we started with a very simple card that has no functionality, just a plain plastic that were issued just for evidential identity. And then sometimes in 2014, there was an introduction of a smart card, which is supposed to now have about multiple applets to enable people to do transactions and do other things. So those two cards are cards that probably you could be referring to. But what we are doing right now is that because these two programs have some challenges, have some issues, which is why it has not spread. People have not picked it up as much as we expected. What we have done now is to revive the entire program, we looked at the problem associated with these two attempts. First, government was to do everything from beginning to end. Like you also mentioned in the intro, we're not issuing 104, 108 million cards to Nigerians, because that was the attempt that were made before. Cards were issued, people did not really have need for it. Some of the cards were lying down in the NIMC offices, nobody picked it up. So what we are doing this time around is that it is case-driven, request-driven. So we are trying to define value for you to demand for the card. When you need the card for financial services, because right now you are having your debit card or what we call an ATM card, which enable you to do transactions. We have layered identity on it. We have put identity on it again to create more value for you so that can compel you, that can attract you to pick up that card if you want that. We have also introduced the social and economic intervention on it too, so that could also encourage you to request for the card and pick it up. Or you want to participate in any of the special schemes. In other words, we are not saying we are going to produce mass for 104 million Nigerians and then begin to just run after them to come and pick up the card. What we have come up now is that people will request for this card. People will request for the card based on their need. And then we can produce those cards and give them. And we are trying to de-risk the involvement of government to ensure that this program is sustainable. We're working with the banking industry, so the banking industry who are already used to issuing, say, debit card to their customers, can, on the back of their protocol, assist us to also make this card available to every Nigerians across all states, as against depending on NIMC to provide the card, to produce the card, to distribute the card, and to give it to Nigerians, which was what was done before, and then it became a problem. Secondly is that because of the challenges we have in the financial inclusion workshop of yesterday that we had, it was clearly brought up that over 30 million Nigerians who have need but has no means of financial interaction, have no means of being digitally included in the digital economy, are immediately going to be enabled by the time we start issuing this card, because those ones who are going to layer their payment token, that is the national identity card, on their NIN that they already have, so that they can immediately be able to do transactions. So therefore, we're not just giving them digital cash, as it were, but we're giving them digital money that they can use to do transactions. And so therefore, it's not compulsory for every Nigerian, but what we're making it possible is that we're creating a compelling reason why Nigerians will pick it. We're also creating different channels. For those who don't want to have a physical card, we have a virtual card that people can download and keep in their phone and their device and continue to use it. They don't want a physical card. Those who want a physical card, who doesn't even want payment, we're also making it available for them so they can pick up the card that has none of these use cases, but the same card program, but just that the enable use cases would differ from what the individual, what the Nigerian, what the card holder wants. So I think that's what we're doing. So therefore, the old card, as it were, for those who have the smart card that were issued between 2014 and today, we have the record about 20 million Nigerians. Our intention is to replace those cards with this new card based on a confirmation of need by the card holder. Okay,
perhaps that's, well, I'm not sure how many people really get the point that you are trying to make, but I think it has a fair, advantage. However, just to be clear, the national identity number that many Nigerians have, does that still hold?
Exactly. The national identity number is for life.
Okay.
It's only retired when Can I continue?
No, well,
Yeah.
I just wanted to clear that. I mean, that one is still active. So the registration that many Nigerians had done, before now, both those who picked their cards and those who are using virtual cards that you talked about, like me, is that one still subsistent in the event that, as you said, some people may not want to pick up the old one or the new one?
Okay. Yeah, the national identification number, it's for life. It's only when the person passes on, it's when we retire those numbers.
Okay.
But however, the NIN, as it were, which is national identification number, is a means of identification which requires by law that before you can accept this as a means of identification, you need to be verified. And that verification means that your biometric has to be match what has been captured before we can confirm that, affirm that the person who brought the number is actually the owner of the number. It's there. So what we are layering now, that we have about 108 million Nigerians that have been enrolled and issued NIN. We're leveraging on that NIN to create value. And one of those values is what our art has actually captured, says that we should issue a general multipurpose card for different use cases.
Okay.
So this card we're issuing is on the back of that NIN to create value, to create additional value for those who are carrying those cards.
Okay.
Again, I talked about the financial inclusion. In that workshop, it was clearly captured and explained that, okay, if you have 180 million Nigerians with a NIN, potentially those 180 million naira, let us assume that they don't have, if they don't have a means of transaction, they have a bank account, whatever, on the back of that NIN, we can immediately create value, create use case for them so that they can become financially included and be able to participate in the emerging digital economy.
Okay.
Therefore, the NIN is for life, it's yours, it's for your life, you keep it, but what we are providing is we're layering on that NIN to create services, to help government, to help individuals.
Okay. Well, let me ask Madam Achife. I'm sure you can appreciate the confusion that the Nigerians, some Nigerians may be having about this. For instance, when the issue came up the first time and people were hearing, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to get another set of cards. Of course, the natural apprehension is there that, what's this one again? Because the information people had was, okay, they're going to get a bank-enabled national ID card, a social intervention card, and an optional ECOWAS national biometric identity card. I guess now we know. People have an idea from what Mr. Iwegu has said, that it's an all-in-one card. What are some other confusion or challenges people may have about this project that you are aware of and need to clear?
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I represent Afrigo Pay Financial Services, and we are the platform on which the e-identity card is layered on. So we are the National Domestic Card Scheme. So it's a card scheme that was created for Nigerians by Nigerians. So what we have here now is a card scheme that can offer all the services that is required by the e-identity and also additional products on the card scheme. Now, I know people are confused about it and all that, and I'm going to let Dr. Peter speak more on the NIMC card, but I am here to actually share more light on how the Afrigo Pay domestic card is going to help bring all those initiatives that the NIMC has in place to light. So, like I said, we're the domestic card scheme. We are the scheme on which all these features and benefits will ride on. And by virtue of who we are and what we do, we're here to ensure that there's domestic autonomy when it comes to our card and payment system. So we are the platform on which the payments aspect of this will ride on. So customers can now have a card that will act as a payment card layered with identity on it. So the value that this card is going to bring is going to be a whole lot more than what was had before. You can use it for social interventions, like Dr. Peter had mentioned. You can use it for government to people, people to government, business to government payments and taxes and the like. So the card comes in many variants. So you have your debit card, prepaid card, virtual card, your contact and contactless. You have access to web payments and gateway. So the point I'm trying to make really is that we should look at it as something of national pride, the domestic card, but at the same time understand that there's coming with more value than what we had before. So we encourage people to not be confused. Like Dr. Peter said, when it's NIMC, I don't believe NIMC is coming in to force people to get multiple cards. Instead, people are being given the option of having a card that will add even more value to them. So this card is going to foster financial inclusion, which is one of the value propositions for Afrigo, domestic card. It's going to fund social interventions by the government. People will be able to pay taxes, and the government will be able to make disbursements to people as well, using the Afrigo domestic card. So while I'm encouraging everyone to embrace the NIMC card, I'm encouraging everyone to embrace the domestic card as well as a symbol of national unity. So I don't want people to be confused by it. People are not going to start getting multiple cards. They're going to have a card that suits their purpose in different variants. So whatever purpose you want to meet, you're going to have a card that will serve that purpose. And it will be layered on our card that was created by Nigerians for Nigerians. Thank you.
You said earlier that this new card is going to be optional. But now that we're being told all the things that one can do with this card, would you not advise every Nigerian to go ahead and ditch the old card that they had and go for this new card? And if that is so, we're not hearing a lot of awareness being created for the need for all of us to have this card.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. I think what we're doing today is trying to create that, we're beginning to create that awareness, try to synthesize Nigerians.
Not enough.
For them to understand the value that we have designed and inbuilt into this new card, so that once we begin to issue it, they will come for it. We are not compelling. Why we're doing today, that it's not compulsion because of our experience in the past, where cards were printed with the belief that people are going to come for it, and they never come for it, and the money was wasted. So money was spent in terms of printing that card, and it's occupying space. So we are creating the awareness right now for that Nigerians can understand the value that we have inbuilt into this card. The value I built into the card is that, one, it is secured. It has almost 12 security layers that were built into it. It is easy to access, unlike the previous one where you must walk into a NIMC office before you can get it. We're partnering with financial institutions, agents across the country so that people can go into those locations and pick it up. We have also created a self-service portal where people can go online and request for the card and indicate how they want the card. They don't want any particular bank to issue it for them, the location they want to pick it up, when they want to pick it up, and if they even want it to be delivered as a special service to them, all those things they can select online and indicate. We have also made it in such a way that this card is offline and online enabled. The reason why that is so important is because of the nature of Nigeria, the terrain in Nigeria. A reasonable number of Nigerians living in remote areas, the access to network is challenged. So this card enables them to be able to do transactions even when that network is not reliable, it's not available. It's offline because the card itself contains wallets that you can use to store value, to store money. And people can use that wallet on a device to be able to encash and do transactions without necessarily waiting for an online authentication or whatever. So those are things we have done. It's also like Nena mentioned, it's contactless. So it's seamless usage for those who know. And then like you rightly explained, currently we do not issue a virtual card online for now. What most Nigerians do, and they call their card, is that the NIN, which is what you normally give when you enroll first, is a NIN slip that gives you your number. What most Nigerians do is that they take that NIN slip and go laminate it and keep it and continue to use it. It's really not a card for us. It's just a number which, by design, was supposed to be more like private and personal to you. And that number is useless until it is verified. But this card provides you an evidential photo ID, because your picture is on the card and also your details is on the chip.
Okay.
So therefore, it's a bit way of carrying your identity that can immediately be verified, and also enable you, for those who have been enabled in the financial sector, to be able to do transactions, to make payments and whatever on that platform. One of the key things that we also need to bring out here is that...
So just 1 second, Mr. Iwegbu. Mr. Iwegbu, my apologies if you can hear me. If you're not issuing digital ID cards for now, what happens to the ones we have right now? Okay.
I was just trying to explain to you that what you have there is your NIN number, National Identification Number, which has been programmed in such a way. It's your number. It's not a card. It doesn't have any of all these functionalities that we're discussing. It's a number that we issue to you whenever you enroll, so that you can have it for your net use. And that number can only be useful based on the law if it is verified. Which means verified means that you need to key it into a system or put your biometric so that your details can be verified by whoever wants to use the identity. So that's what people have been laminating. It's not really a card per se, but people have laminated and they are using it for that purpose. So what we're bringing up now is a card, a smart-based card that has a lot of functionality that people can subscribe to and pick up and use it for the different use cases that we have enumerated. So the name slip that people have been using, we're not saying it's not, it's a name slip, it's a number. It's just a number that people laminate. But a card for us, a general multipurpose card for us goes beyond just a number. It includes a number and use cases which you can use. It include the number and functionalities and services that you can use that card to access. Okay. Like I mentioned, payment, banking, government services, and many more. Okay.
Mr. Iwegbu, you say that the NIN is forever. I can therefore assume that if I decide to get this new card, my NIN will be on this new card, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Now,
the NIN is the basis for the issuance. If you don't have the NIN, no card.
Okay, fine. So this project takes off in May. When in May does it take off, and how can one acquire one?
Okay. Let me talk about the process of getting the card, then I'll come back to when people can acquire the card. The process of getting this card is first that you must enroll as a Nigerian. You must have your NIN, National Identification Number. Once you have enrolled and you have a National Identification Number, there are three channels you can use to request for the card. The first one is that if you have if you have access to internet or a mobile app or whatever you have access to, you can download the mobile portal, and that portal is available on NIMC. Will be available on NIMC website and also be available on the participating bank platforms. You can go there, fill the form, request. The first thing that is required to put your NIN and put your date. And if your NIN is validated as authentic, the system will pull out your details, and that details will not be used to prime the card, and then based on your choice, what you would have indicated when you are making this request, the card will be delivered to you. Second one is that you can walk into any of the participating bank branch. The bank branches also have access to the same portal. They can make the request on your behalf. When you supply them your NIN and all that is required, they verify the NIN, the card can be processed based on your choice too. If you want to pick it up from that branch or you want to pick it up from somewhere, the card will produce and deliver to that location. Or you don't have a bank nearest to you, but you have a NIMC location close to you. Go to a NIMC location or any of its authorized agents. Agents are going to be authorized to be able to do that. Any of the authorized agents that is closest to you or NIMC location, you can also go there supply them with your NIN. They will validate your NIN. Once your NIN is validated, the process of the production will commence. And once it's produced, you can pick it up based on what you have also selected.
Okay.
There's another category of people that we're also going to issue card. We are working with a couple of government agencies for the intervention, for the use case for intervention. Those people we are going to gather them together and produce a mass card for them because it's a program. For example, I'll give an example. If you want to support the fishermen in Ondo State, you probably have a database of those fishermen that you want to support. We're going to get them. If they have a NIN, we'll use their NIN immediately to prime their card. If they don't have a NIN, we enroll them, issue them the NIN, and we produce the card. What we are working on now is to be able to do that instantly. So therefore, if we have a cluster, we can sit under the tree, enroll the people, issue the card, and produce those cards for that intervention purpose immediately to them, so they can immediately be enabled to enjoy those benefits that the government wants to make available to them. Those category of people those category of people do not really necessarily to make a request to us. It is a program that has been designed to support them, that will give us their data, and then we'll produce those cards for them and make it available to them.
Okay. Well, let me ask.
So the last one I mentioned, which
yes.
is
my apologies. Let me ask Mrs. Madam Achife. You know, you were talking about security features the other time. And, you know, the picture that just came to my mind is that of someone who just goes into, you know, a restaurant or something and you want to pay. You don't even need to slot it into you put your card into any slot. You just tap something and then, you know, the payment is made. So if that is the way it is, tell us about the security, because I think it is just easy for someone to just put something behind you if they know that your card is in your back pocket. Just move close to you. You get the picture that I'm trying to pick, you know, to paint. So help us understand, what are these security features that protects the user of the card, particularly for financial use?
Okay, thank you so much. I know that that would be a great concern, but you don't go into a payment card program without having proper security in place. First of all, everything comes from ensuring that the right person has initiated the request. So that's the customer, right? And in initiating this request, especially when it comes to contactless, there will be security processes put in place to ensure that the level and the extent of exposure that the customer, who is the one in charge, enables for that card is the only thing that will make that card work. So you might have a situation where there will be PIN enablement, or there would be limits to how much can be done using that card feature. But there are so many security layers that have been put in place, which I really would not want to elaborate more on, but I want to make it clear that you start by properly identifying who is requesting for that card, and then you ensure that all the security features are in place, again, up to the point where the customer is comfortable having that feature available on the card. So if, for instance, I'm only comfortable and my risk appetite to having a contactless card is set to a limit, I'll ensure as a customer that that limit is maintained. And I, as the card scheme, will ensure that there's no way that that can be flouted or contravened by anyone or anyone trying to gain access to the customer's card. So you're not going to be walking around and people are going to be patting your backside, forgive me, and then having access to your funds. No, we're not going to let that happen.
Okay.
So as a card scheme, all those security layers are in place to ensure that there's no flaws or anything of that sort.
Okay.
I think people should be comfortable enough to want to go this route.
Yeah. Does it require renewal from time to time?
Yes, well, absolutely. But the beautiful thing about it is that it's going to have a longer period before you need to renew it. I mean, we renew our international passports and the like. So yes, there will be renewal, but it's still your identity. And the period it's not going to be the regular period. It's going to have an extended life cycle. So yes.
So it's a card that expires over what, say, 5 years, 10 years?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
But Dr. Peter can, and I'm speaking from the Afrigo card point of view. We're going to have all those features in place. And Dr. Peter can speak from the NIN point of view, which is also layered on Afrigo.
We're running out of time now. I just wanted to, take some issues up with you on that. You know that generally, and this is, generally people are petrified, apprehensive about technology. Now, how does this card promote inclusion?
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much. That's part of what we did by design. From the design of the card from the beginning, we worked on exclusivity, which is the reason why we are doing biometric. Because we imagine that a lot of Nigerians remembering their PIN for them to be able to use to do transactions may be a challenge. So what we've done is to have enabled biometric, which means that once you have your biometric in the remote area, you will be able to do transaction based on this biometric-enabled verification. You can be able to do transaction on it. And in terms of the security, you talked about the contactless. I just wanted to go back to that to say that contactless technology is a bit standard. It's a bit matured now all over around the world. There are protocols which has been defined, embedded in it to ensure that you don't just tap and go. People cannot just tap when you are walking on the street and collect your money. So there are already some security measures that are defined, embedded in the design. Okay. But in terms of making it easy for Nigerians to pick up the card, the bottom of the pyramid, as I explained earlier on, we're going to them to deliver it to them.
Okay, Mr. Iwegbu, thank you very much. We've run completely out of time. I'm very, very sorry. We've run completely out of time. Thank you very much. But we hope that word will keep going out about this card so that when you start issuing those cards, we will actually go out and get them, since you have explained to us how useful this card is going to be, as opposed to just the national identity card which we had before. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Iwegbu, who is Head Card Management Service over at NIMC, as well as Ms. Nenna Achife, Head Commercial Business, Afrigo, both of whom joined us from our studio in Abuja. Thank you very much for coming to enlighten us this morning. We hope we'll hear more about this project as time goes on. Sunrise will return with another interesting topic in just a moment. Do stay with us.